Why can't our leaders unite and have one voice? Or what is happening?
They are brainwashed. They were brainwashed by the Arabs when they came here, divided into religious groups, by the missionaries who came here, split them, introduced them new concepts.
But also the Mulima people were brainwashed.
Yes, but the Mulima people have remained Kikuyus. By the way, they are Christians, but they still pray facing Mount Kenya. They are Christians, but they still congregate around Mugumo tree. My friend.
By the way, they are Christians and they don't pray in English.
Yes.
They don't, the Bibles are in Kikuyu.
Even Muslims, when you go to central Kenya and you go to the mosque, they give their sermons in Kikuyu. My friend, I've been there. I've been in Moro, I've been in Joro, I've been in Naivasha. I've been there.
Prayers, Muslim prayers in Kikuyu.
These Pentecostal people here, they go to the mosque and you hear them speaking Swahili.
And Kiarabu.
And they're Arabic. Are they Arabs? They have an identity of Arabs. You cannot attain true liberation if you don't understand yourself. You must know yourself. Even in science, you cannot treat a problem without knowing its cause. We don't know ourselves, even as coastal people. Are we Arabs? Are we Muslims?
We don't know.
Are we Christians? Are we Kenyans? Are we Mijikenda? We are confused. We have a confused identity. Because there is no way, for example, you can attain unity in the coast when people themselves have a confused identity. They know, even you look at their names, by the way. You look at their names, they are confused. You have John Kahindi, so is John, is Christian, is Kahindi. You have Muhammad Chidiogo. Muhammad is Arabic and Chidiogo is Digo, for
Muhammad
example.
Kazungu.
Yes.
Atumani, Konde.
Senior. That can tell you that these people are confused.
We are back after a short recess. Is it a recess or a reflection? Around a week sija hoji ama hatuja kuwa na mazungumzo na Professor Shauri. Sio ati YouTube imekuwa imelala. YouTube has been busy with other things. You can see the way we are going. And by the way, thank you so much for your support. Tumegrow sana. I'm happy. I'm very happy. The views, the subscribers, the watch hour, the comments, the feedback. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Today, niko na Professor Shauri. Kenya ni nchi ambayo inafurahisha sana. We were in the same seat seated with Professor Shauri when we talked about Muturi, the sacking or what is happening or the boycott of Muturi to the parliament. And the professor gave out a list of options. Possibly, the president or Muturi could take. And good enough, one of them ilishikamana, the exit strategy of Muturi, or it was exited. Alingolewa, hakujingoa.
It is interesting because in any engagement there are three options. One of the options is to be loyal. We call it loyalty. Another option will be to voice. We call it voicing. And the last option, which is the weakest option, is called exit. So in sociology, we have a theory which is very clear about that. It is called exit, voice, and loyalty. So Muturi is voicing. And when someone is voicing, it means there is something that is happening about loyalty, is doubting the loyalty. Can I be loyal? And if there are issues. And when somebody is voicing, it is an opportunity to recapture them towards loyalty. Because J.B. Muturi was loyal, and that's why he was the Attorney General. J.B. Muturi was loyal, and that's why he was appointed cabinet secretaries. And J.B. Muturi doesn't want to move out. He's still loyal, but he's saying there are some scratches, some rust, which we need to clean up. And this rust has to do with these disappearances.
So Leo, Prof, we are back. Welcome, Prof.
Thank you very much.
for this talk. I think, yeah, indeed, it has been a week of observing developments that are happening in the country, and interesting development happening very fast, yeah, in the country, and it makes Kenya a very interesting country to live in. I don't feel like living Kenya because there's always something nice to talk about every day. Intellectual stimulation, yeah, every day academic contribution, every day we are challenging models that have existed to explain how people engage in life. Yeah, because I remember last time we were talking about exit, voice, and loyalty. And we said very clearly that these are options. When you get a service and you are not happy about it, you can voice your dissatisfaction. Sure. That is exactly what Muturi was doing. He was in cabinet and he was voicing his dissatisfaction. But when he was voicing, he didn't mean that he wanted to get out. And that's why he was very clear that he's not going to resign. He's not going to exit. When someone voices, actually, it is like he's very loyal and he wants to bring change so that he doesn't move out. So that if things can change, then he can continue. And that is exactly what Muturi wanted. He wanted things to change by a cabinet memo to discuss about the abductions and disappearances. And then Muturi would have been happy. Yeah, but of course, that didn't happen. And I think the model of exit, voice, and loyalty was challenged because finally Muturi was exited. He did exit himself.
When this theory or when this sociology was working on that methodology of exit, loyalty, and voicing, did you think of somebody can be exited?
I think these are developments that are interesting developments. That yeah, if you don't want to exit, then we can exit.
So a fourth term has joined the
yeah. Probably we need to reform and now say you are either voicing, you are either loyal, you can exit, but you can also be exited.
Now, Prof, we have Muturi was sacked. That is the best word. Muturi was sacked. And Muturi is out of cabinet. And Muturi is somewhere making noises, serious, damaging noises. Is he saying sitakufa peke yangu? Or is he saying twende sote? Or is he trying to say I know much than what people think?
In Kiswahili, they have a saying. They say, mwenzako akimwaga ugali,
unamwaga mboga. So ameamua
kuzimwaga mboga. But I think he's ill-advised. He's ill-advised because when you attack the persona of a president, you must be able to have facts. And from the way he's giving his verbal spurts, he doesn't look to have facts. Because he needs to prove those facts. And if he was there alone and being told to sign, then how does he prove those facts? It is a very difficult mountain that he's trying to create, that it may even now discredit the integrity that he has created for himself by standing firm against abductions and by presenting himself as a person of integrity, by using slander. So I think he needs to step back and he needs to strategize and see how he can fight his fight. Because the way he's fighting it now is based on emotions. It's based on I will show you. It's based on mwaga ugali. I mean mwaga mchuzi. Lakini lazima umwage mchuzi kimpango. Usichukue tu kibafuli ukakirusha. Unaweza gonga ndugu yako. So he's in a very precarious situation now, and I think he as a former government advisor, I think he himself needs also advice. Yeah? Sometimes the hunter can become the hunted. And if then you are an advisor, you can also need advice. It doesn't mean that you are self-sufficient. So you need advice on how to go around this. Because there's a clear calculated move why he was kicked out of office. He was kicked out of office at a time when the following day the president was going to the mountain.
To the mountain.
Is it a coincidence? Is it a strategy?
And he was replaced by his MP.
Definitely yes. So you should learn that you don't just fight those wars like that. You must be good in strategy. The president is ahead of him. Two steps ahead.
Not even two, even more, because I'm trying to imagine, this guy was an MP, and the same constituency Muturi comes from. He was picked, and no one thought the president could pick somebody from the same. In fact, me, I thought Raila could pick this position. But the president is smart.
Very smart, very smart. The president is a strategist. He knows how to silence people. He has silenced Raila.
Imagine.
And who is Muturi?
Who is Muturi?
Muturi is going to be silenced. Wewe ulinyoa wengine. Hata yeye utamnyoa. Tena utamnyoa bila maji.
Bila maji. Man's a very
the way is going, atanyolewa bila maji. Na ukinyolewa bila maji ni uchungu.
Uchungu sana.
Kwa sababu anaongea tu bila kujipanga. Anaongea tu bila kuona kwamba atatakana evidence. And he's a lawyer. I was shocked yesterday. He's a lawyer, has been an AG. You can't just give couple diarrhea that you can, it's very difficult to substantiate.
I thought Embu County will react negatively after the sacking of Muturi. But watching the videos of yesterday at Chuka Market, everybody is saying kwani Ruto alinunua watu wangapi? Because they are saying either alimwaga pesa ama ni Photoshop. But let me ask you, Prof, how much can you spend to have such a crowd?
I think it's not a matter of spending. It is a matter of strategy. Because even if you are given the money, if they give the money to myself, probably I may not pull those crowds.
There you are.
So Ruto is a good strategist, and he has learned this for many years. For many years. He's a true, someone who said he's a true student, including Muturi himself, is a true replica of Moi.
Moi.
Moi was a strategist. With his limited education, he looked this country for long. Because he could stress, yes, he could strategize.
Quiet but working very hard.
Definitely, yes. So Ruto is a master strategist. He knows how to do things. He knows how to do things. Remember, he pulled all the Mount Kenya leaders who were supporting him and had a meeting with them. And after the meeting, the next step was, I will show this Muturi man. And then after showing Muturi man, he's in the mountain. And people are dancing with Ruto. The same Ruto they've been calling Kasongo. They're dancing Kasongo now. You can see how smart and how strategic in terms of his thought Kasongo is.
Before we go to the president's tour, let's have a few minutes of Gachagua. Gachagua is silent.
Definitely. Definitely. Because they are all guided by emotions, not by strategy. So the same lessons that Muturi is trying to display are the same lessons that he borrows from Gachagua. When Gachagua was kicked out, he made those noises. Similar noises, by
and
the
still
way.
is making the same noises.
Similar noises, by the way, with no evidence to validate, with no strategy to upscale. It's similar.
So remember you talked about the bombers at Inauzua were Turkey. And then the bombers is under renovation.
You see? So you in such matters, you need really to have a team of strategists. A team that can be able to analyze the situation, a team that can be able to design a counter attack. And then you can be able now to say, okay, call the media. I am ready to counter attack. You don't stand on your own alone like a stick and you make noise. Even sticks need to come together so that they can form a bunch that can be difficult to break. A single stick will be broken.
The president or the presidency is on the tour of the mountain. Why was central changed from the word central province to Mulima or a mountain?
It is significant because Central also hosts the tallest mountain in the country,
Yeah, Mount Kenya. Mount Kenya.
And Mount Kenya is closely associated with some spiritual powers that even the Kikuyu community, when they pray facing Mount Kenya. So definitely in Swahili, a mountain is a Mulima. And therefore the people of the mountain are watu wa Mulima. But I think we should not just look at it in a very literal way, a Mulima to mean Mulima. Mulima is an identity. And the identity is a social construction. And identity has a lot of power. There are quite a number of scholars who have talked about identity and the power of identity, like Adams, like Clark. They have talked about identity and how identity can be used for social mobilization. So identity is a powerful tool. And I think Kenyans should look at that, people of Mulima. Kenyans should look at the Kikuyu community and also the president visit to pull out lessons out of it. Because why would it be so important for the president to go to the Mulima? He's going to the Mulima because the Mulima is mobilized. The Mulima is organized on an identity. And when people are organized on an identity, it is very easy for you to direct them in a certain direction. And of course, this is political direction. So other regions of the country, you should be thinking of also galvanizing themselves into some form of unity. So I would love to see that Kenyans wake up and they reorganize themselves, and I hear now coastal unity for watu wa Pwani, ama hear watu wa Northeastern, or watu wa Nyanza, or watu wa Magharibi, so that now we can redefine the political space for this country. Now, such that the political space of this country makes a transition from individualized decision making in voting to some kind of block kind of voting that really captures the interest of those blocks. Because the Mulima people are together, they are getting their interest as people of Mulima, not as individuals.
As a group, as a community.
As a group, and that is true democracy. The really true African democracy.
So Gachagua wasn't wrong when he said Mulima must be protected.
Yes, Gachagua was very right, because Gachagua was tracing back where we started as African communities. We were organized that way before the coming of the colonialists.
Is it not a tribal tribunal? No, tribal
identity. You cannot rub it. If you are a Kikuyu, you are a Kikuyu. If you are a Digo, you are a Digo. If you are a Griama, you are a Griama. You can't rub it. It is mere divisive and brainwashing and change of mindset of people by telling that it is backward for them to be called Kikuyus or for them to be called Digos. Why are the British called British? Why are the Germans called Germans?
Americans are called
Americans.
Spaniards, the Portuguese.
Yes. Why? It is because there is power in identity. And if you reject identity, then you will be dominated, you will be divided, you will be ruled, you will be oppressed, and probably marginalized. Because you don't have a voice.
Is the president afraid of identity?
Definitely, he knows the power of identity, that the power of identity can destabilize him. And that's why he's singing every day to try and crush the identity of the Kikuyu by labeling Gachagua as a tribalist. But even if you label Gachagua as a tribalist, it doesn't make him an American. He's a Kikuyu. You cannot rub that one out. I will remain a Digo. You can't rub it out.
No matter what.
Even if you tell me I'm a tribalist.
No.
So how does it change? I was born a Digo.
A Digo.
And I grew a Digo. And I'm a Digo. And I'm proud to be one.
Yes.
So even if I speak English, I'm a Digo. It's the same.
That is the back end of everything.
African countries, including Kenya, should be able to rethink if they are really serious about true democracy. If they are really serious about true representation, true representation cannot be done by a political party. True representation is done by ethnic and tribal organization and identity.
Mtazamaji, Professor, hana break. Alright, it's a pure truth, by the way, whereby majority of us, we are trying to run away from the reality that we are tribal, yes, but that's us. Yes. Now, Prof, the president is afraid of Mulima. He's trying to hit hard, to identify himself with the Mulima, because the truth is all about, I'm the king. In the midst of the Shagwa and Muturi, I am the king. How is that?
The governor of Embu was very clear. And he was actually trying to strengthen the identity of the Kikuyu. He said that you are a king of Kenya.
Nafurahi kwa sababu rais amekuja na hii wiki imekuwa nzuri kwa sababu tumepata marupurupu. Tungetaka awe akiendelea kuja kwa sababu akija marupurupu yanapatikana na tuna furaha. Lakini mwito ni ule ule. Tuko pale pale. Ni vizuri nikwambie. Watu wa Mlimani hawajaanza kuomba mtu. Hawaja. Unajua ni vizuri. Mimi nimekuwa, si mimi mwenyewe pia nilimkaribisha Nyeri. Na kwa sababu ni rais na mimi ni gavana na nikampokea. Lakini hata yeye mwenyewe anajua uchangamfu uliokuwako mwanzo na ule uliokuwa wakati huu una tofauti. Rais ni kingpin wa Kenya, lakini pengine sio kingpin wa Mlima.
I'm not a king of the mountain. Good. The Kikuyus are the old king. They are Kikuyus. And the president is not a Kikuyu. So that's why he can be a king of the Kikuyus.
And there was a title on the newspaper saying, Ruto the king of the mountain. So they're trying to find that. I don't want Ruto to be the king of the mountain.
He may be the king of Kenya because he's the president of Kenya, but he can't be the king of Digos, king of Mijikendas, or the king of the Luos. No, he's the king of Kenya. So if he comes to the coast, I beg the coastal people should be able also to converge themselves in the Kayas and create their own people of the Kaya. If we are talking about people of Mulima, I think it's high time we hear people of the Kaya, and we hear also people of the lake, and etc., etc.
If you watched his media engagement at Sagana, the first day was their night, I was almost going in tears when he talked about the mountain has got around 900 kilometers of road going on now. That is a distance of from Kilifi to Nairobi twice, and many other projects. Mulima economy is the biggest among the old 9 constituencies, provinces. So him identifying himself with the Mulima, it's also a way of selling his policies. But, Prof, other regions are suffering. Who will voice for Coast Province to have at least 100 kilometers of tarmac?
They will suffer because they are not organized. Politics is a game of organization. Kikuyus organize themselves even pre-independence, independence, and post-independence. Because Kikuyus don't shy away from being called Kikuyus. Some of the Kenyan tribes, they shy away from called by their names. You say when in Mkamba, they get angry. If you say when in Mdigo ama Mjibana, they get angry. Kikuyus, they'll never get angry because they know the power that is in collective identity. And I think some tribes that has picked very quickly from the Kikuyus are the Somalis.
Oh, yes.
The Somalis don't feel wrong to call them Somalis. They are happy. But I found some tribes here as you do Rabais and Chonyis here and Digos and Durumas. You call them Digos or Durumas and the Chonyis, they feel inferior.
they feel abused. They feel, no. There is power in identity because collective identity is what is needed for transformation. You cannot voice as an individual, but you can have a stronger voice as a group. And the only dominating factor, which is very original, is the tribal or ethnic aspect of us. Because we have all common ethnic interests and ethnic agenda, apart from our individual personal agendas. And the president is fearful of the Mulima because the collective identity is a very strong instrument for struggle for power. You can lose power if you don't take care of collective identity. So that's what he's trying to fight. And that's why he's gone there to demonstrate that you guys, you are the biggest beneficiaries in Kenya. You have the longest stretch of tarmac road. Yes. He is opening markets. He's, opening projects here and there, right and left and center, to demonstrate to them that, I love you people more. You gave me over 3 million. When will the Luos, the Luyas, the Kambas, the Mijikendas come together? When will they forge a collective single identity? Identity seeking behavior can even be neurotic, can be madness. Yes. You haven't seen people during elections when they are identifying themselves with political parties. You haven't seen this gentleman who normally carries oranges and this lady who's full drawn with oranges.
I remember that.
That is madness. It's identity. It's identity. So if someone can color themselves with the national flags during football matches for identity, if someone can, wear, oranges and to demonstrate that it's ODM, why not demonstrate that you are a Kamba or a Luo or a Rendile? The Kikuyus are doing it. The Somalis are doing it. Which are the most successful tribes in this country? Those two. There's those two. Why are they successful? The denominator is tribal identity. So this idea of tribalism is Eurocentric. It is an idea that is foreign. It is alien to Africa. There is no way you will change the dots that are there in Africa and in Kenya. In fact, it makes us so beautiful. And it gives us an opportunity to live together collectively, but recognizing our individual identities. Identity has two sides. It can foster conformity. People can conform. Or it can also support resistance. So it depends on how you tweak it. So the president is in the mountain to tweak the identity because he is scared that it could have triggered conformity that could have favored Gachagua. So we need to wait and do an analysis of the president tour. What impact would it have created in the mountain? Would it have shattered the mountain? Would it have climbed the mountain? Or would it have left the mountain the way it found it? I think this is food for thought for all of us to be able to watch, analyze, and come to a conclusion.
Tweaking.
Tweaking, you must tweak it.
What is tweaking?
To tweak is to twist it to a certain angle where you want
changing some directions.
Yes.
From where they are heading to Mulima.
The way you are tweaking your camera, you tweak it so that we can see each other. Or you see yourself alone. You are tweaking it. You are making it, meet what you want to see.
Well, guys, tweaking it for you. So the president is trying to redirect the mountain from where they are going to something else.
And you see, he has been successful to some extent. There are some people who are anti-Gachagua
and they appeared in some of his meetings.
Or except one or two, but the rest, they attended.
Yes, that's the thinking.
Where you go, I go. And whoever you call your president, I also call him my president. Kuteresa sio kuanguka.
Si huyu wa maua tufanye kazi na yeye ama mnasema aje? Mnasema nifanye kazi na wa maua? Tufanye pamoja? Wale wanasema tuendelee na wa maua tufanye kazi pamoja. Sasa wa maua, hawa wananchi wa Makuyu, wananchi wa Maragwa, wadosi wako na wadosi wangu wamesema tufanye kazi ya wananchi. Wapi? Haya, sasa tufanye namna hiyo. Asante sana. Basi huyu wa maua mimi nitafanya kazi na yeye.
Saa hii ameongea shida yote ya Makuyu, amenimalizia. Sasa mimi niseme nini isipokuwa kusupport yeye amalize hiyo kazi yote. Si ndio hiyo?
The power of the presidency, you don't underrate it.
Sure.
Be it Gachagua, be it Muturi. The state called presidency, you don't underrate.
Don't play with it.
It has all the advantages of getting insights and strategy and input from all over the country. And therefore, you don't just take it for granted that you can fight it on your own. You need to also be very strategic, and you need also to be very eagle-eyed to be able to see far than the presidency itself.
Kenyans, siasa ya Mulima. I long for the day whereby Coast Province will be regarded as jimbo. Jimbo limeamua. Pwani Kwanza movement. Sometimes back that thing was there, Pwani Kwanza movement. Pwani si Kenya. Remember that time? Pwani si Kenya. But it was misinterpreted and people lost lives. And that vision was removed from the leaders, and anyone pushing it was given a tag and a name. Is it time to have it again?
I think as a professor of sociology, I would not be able to say that it was misinterpreted. It was not misinterpreted. But the architect knew that Pwani is mobilizing into a force akin to the Mulima. And the only way is to crush it before they identify themselves with a clear identity. Remember when the colonialists came, they did the same. Is that the same techniques, by the way, being used by these guys? Because they are only students of the colonialists. They're students of colonizers. The colonialists came and destroyed the social structure of the communities so that they can have a say. And they introduced democracy and political parties which are foreign to Africa. The same, if you see people mobilizing, you have to call them tribalists. You have to call the mobilizers tribal chiefs. I will not be surprised if people watch my video and say Professor Shaw is a tribal chief. But I will tell them they are thinking like colonialists. We must liberate them ourselves from the colonial mentality, and we must come back as Africans and chart a way for the true African democracy. True African democracy will not be represented by individual interest, by political party interest. True political democracy in Africa should be represented by the way Africans used to mobilize and organize themselves in tribal groups. In Tanzania, the Hehe; in Uganda, the Baganda, the Batoro, the Banyoro; in Kenya, the Masai, the Mijikenda, So we must go back there for really Africa to attain true political mobilization, true democracy for Africa. So there cannot be a democracy, rule of the people, by the people, for the people. Who are these people? These people whose identity has been destroyed,
by patching them in some political groups called political parties? Why can't we have a democracy of the people, for the people, by the people, organized within their tribal, within their ethnic compositions, so that when they talk of an interest, it is a true interest of the people?
Let's talk about the unity, political unity at the coast. Here we are. Why can't our leaders unite and have one voice for what is happening?
They are brainwashed. They were brainwashed by the Arabs when they came here, divided into religious groups, by the missionaries who came here, split them, introduced them new concepts.
But also the Mulima people were brainwashed.
Yes, but the Mulima people have remained Kikuyus. By the way, they are Christians, but they still pray facing Mount Kenya. They are Christians, but they still congregate around Mugumo tree. My friend.
By the way, they are Christians and they don't pray in English.
Yes.
They don't, the Bibles are in Kikuyu.
Even Muslims, when you go to central Kenya and you go to the mosque, they give their sermons in Kikuyu. My friend, I've been there. I've been in Moro, I've been in Joro, I've been in Naivasha. I've been there.
Prayers, Muslim prayers in Kikuyu.
These Pentecostal people here, they go to the mosque and you hear them speaking Swahili
And Kiarabu.
and they are Arabic. Are they Arabs? They have an identity of Arabs. You cannot attain true liberation if you don't understand yourself. You must know yourself. Even in science, you cannot treat a problem without knowing its cause. We don't know ourselves, even as coastal people. Are we Arabs? Are we Muslims?
We don't know.
Are we Christians? Are we Kenyans? Are we Mijikenda? We are confused. We have a confused identity. Because there is no way, for example, you can attain unity in the coast when people themselves have a confused identity. They know, even you look at their names, by the way. You look at their names, they are confused. You have John Kahindi, so is John, is Christian, is Kahindi. You have Muhammad Chidiogo. Muhammad is Arabic and Chidiogo is Digo, for
Muhammad
example.
Kazungu.
Yes.
Atumani, Konde.
Senior. That can tell you that these people are confused.
But
and by the way, challenge them, ask them who they are. They'll tell you, I'm a Christian or I'm a Muslim, but I'm also a Mijikenda. What is Mijikenda? There are communities which came here the other day. I can mention them. The Pemba community in Kilifi.
Yes.
They were given a code and they are recognized as Pemba community. The Makonde community in Kwale, they just came the other day. Behind Durumas and behind Digos and behind Giriamas. Giriamas, Digos, Durumas, they don't have a code. They are put together balkanized as Mujikenda. Why? Because someone does not want them to wake up and they recognize themselves that they have an identity that they need to protect. And when they forge a partnership with other communities, they are going there for partnership, not to be assimilated. But the coastal people were assimilated by force. They are told they are Michigandas. The Luyas are assimilated by force. They are called the Luyas. But they are Tirikis, they are Isukas.
Mtazamaji, are you getting what the prof is trying to talk about the coast people? We are a confused identity community.
Yeah.
Because you will never see a Mkikuyu called Atumani Kariuki. He will remain with the Kikuyu names.
In fact, even boys and children who don't have fathers in court,
they are called Wanjiru. The names of the yeah, kabisa.
They don't want to use that identity.
Anaitwa na jina ya mamake.
Yes.
Ama nyanyake.
Yes.
Mulei or Wanjiru.
Yes. Because they know the power, the benefits that comes with identity. They cannot shy away. They cannot undress the Kikuyuness in them. The coastal people are suffering from what we call identity crisis. An identity crisis is a condition of not knowing who you are. And if you don't know who you are, then it means anything comes, goes. If the political party comes, you dance. You've seen them dancing very high with ODM. They have been losing all the years. They're always in ODM, always dancing. Because they don't know who they are. We don't know who we are. We must start to know who we are, and then we mobilize from who we are, and then now we seek partnership with others. Because you cannot mix maize and beans without having separate identity. Otherwise, all of them will look like beans, or all of them will look like maize. Githeri has different identity. You can see beans and you can see maize. This is what I'm talking about. You cannot go to mix with other people when you are all of the same identity. You disappear. In French West Africa, for example, you get assimilated. You lose your identity completely and you are swallowed by other people. So to avoid being swallowed, it is important that the coastal people need to sit back, reflect, discuss, re-strategize, and form themselves afresh. I'm excited by what has been happening in Kwale, for example. The Digos have refined themselves and they have gone all the way organizing themselves and getting their own spokesperson. Chirao Makwere is the spokesperson for the Digo community.
Nazo hisia zimeendelea kutolewa na viongozi mbalimbali wa eneo la Kwale kufuatia uteuzi wa waziri wa zamani Chirao Ali Makwere. Muungano wa wazee wa kaya wa jamii ya Digo unaojumuisha wasomi na viongozi wa kidini walimchagua Balozi Makwere kwa msemaji wa jamii ya Digo. Uteuzi huu ulifanywa kupitia mazungumzo ya muda mrefu ya vikundi hivyo vilivyowafikia pia kumteua aliyekuwa mbunge wa Msambweni Marere wa Machai kuwa naibu msemaji. Profesa Hassan Mwachimako aliteuliwa kuwa katibu. Kulingana na wazee hao, jukumu la viongozi hao litakuwa kuunganisha jamii hiyo na jamii nyingine ili kutafuta suluhu kwa changamoto zinazowakumba wakazi wa
uongozi wa hii kundi ni kuiongoza jamii ya Kidigo ili iweze kuangazia zile changamoto zake na kuweza kuzipatia suluhu. Umoja huu umekusanya tabaka mbalimbali. Ikiwa mimi ni shekhe nazungumza kwa niaba ya mashehe wenzangu, utakuwa umoja huu umekusanya mashehe. Umoja huu utakuwa umekusanya wazee hawa wa kaya. Umoja huu utakuwa umekusanya kila tabaka katika tabaka za Wadigo, tena Wadigo kutoka Lungalunga mpaka Likoni, mpaka pale watakapokoma.
And the Dhurubas have picked. They have also picked the script from the Digos, and they have been discussing, and they also have their spokesperson. And the Choni, by the way. The Choni is land here in Kilifi.
Na hapa kuungana Mijikenda tunakuwa na problem. Sasa tuanzeni Mijikenda, tushikane pamoja. Wazee kwa wavijana, kwa wamama na kadhalika, tuwe pamoja, ndiposa pwani itasikika.
So I think there is some reawakening that people need to go back to their roots. So among the 9 tribes of the Mijikenda, already you can see 3 of them are on the right track. 6 needs to follow this track. So that now, after they have their own councils, after they have their own spokespersons, they can create now the Mijikenda. The Mijikenda should be an umbrella. It cannot be a tribe. It's not a tribe. It's a camouflage of some confused, some disorganized, some, formation that can be used for political expedience. And people have been taking advantage of it. The other day you had Aisha Juma saying Joe is a spokesperson. Because they are confused. They say anybody can propose whatever they want to propose. They are confused, So we say, we are not confused. We are civilized. Because civilization started here. Civilization of people who don't know their roots, who don't know their culture, who wants to lose their culture. The whole world is struggling to protect cultures not to disappear. There is a whole United Nations organization, UNESCO, to protect cultures. Not only culture in terms of artifacts like Lamu is being protected, but even indigenous communities must be protected. Sustainability cannot be attained if we go into the future and we don't have remnants of Digos or Jibanas. We must have remnants of those people so that we can say they were people here. They cannot come to extinction. We must protect them. There is value in protecting them. There is value in that diversity. It makes the world beautiful.
Let's go back, Dogo. We have political parties at the coast, which were formed. I can say the first political party which was formed in Kenya was KADU, by our own, the late Mzee Ngala. Then after Kenyatta came out of prison, Mutuwema akapeana chama. Kupeana chama, KADU ikaishia pale. For some time, other parties came out. Shirikisho, KADU asili, Republicans, there is power now. Have these parties tried to bridge the gap of confusion and crisis of identity?
I don't think they have been successful. They have fallen to the tricks of the colonizers and the friends, our fellow Kenyans of the colonizers. They have really still danced to the same song of divide and rule, the same song of disorganize them and govern them. They have not been able to come out of that. And by the way, I want to tell you on a very serious note, the coast normally starts quite a number of brilliant ideas, but normally they lose those ideas. They have not sat back to ask themselves why they lose those ideas. The way you have pinned it very correctly, KADU started here. It means political mobilization was good here.
It was good here by then.
But remember, by then when KADU was being created, we were alive to our cultural identities. It was very clear. Mwambao, the Mwambao movement
was very heavy.
It was very clear. People would know themselves. The rumors were the rumors, Digos were Digos. So there was that, we are coming together now to forge our common interests. So the other political parties that have come much later, they have not been able to measure up to the spectra, to the speed, to the glue of KADU, because they are based on that divisive, not uniting kind of a mantra. KADU was all the way, but these guys are just pockets. The other political parties here which are just pockets. But as you said it correctly, even the parties that are here, we may lose them. Some have already started losing them.
Just imagine.
Yeah, the same way we lost KADU. I know some of the names you have mentioned, some have they have already been lost. That's how it is. Yeah, we are the ones who started also Jumuiya. Jumuiya account is a Pwani. Where is it? Are you hearing it?
Mulikula pesa.
Are you hearing Jumuiya account is a Pwani? But other people like in Nyanza,
there is a block there.
Yes, serious economic block.
Yes.
And who are the first people who started it? First people. Do you know, I really sometimes ask ourselves, can we go back to find out where the rain started beating us? We are very good in complaining that we are marginalized. We are very good in complaining that we'll be left behind. But we don't sit and reflect, why are we being left behind? The poverty, the marginalization that we sing all the time is really weird, by the way. Other regions are moving away. Want we marginalize like the Somalis? The coastal people were the same league with the Somalis and the Nyanza people in terms of marginalization. We have remained, others have moved. The Nyanza region has a clear block, economic block, and they are doing their things. Right now, if you go to Kisumu, I'm telling you,
You cannot compare Kisumu with Mombasa.
Leave alone that. Even Mandera. I'm told Mandera has got good malls, good town, just like Mombasa.
Because
Identity.
we are not sitting back, reflecting, discussing, and discovering our roots. We must go back to our roots to mobilize ourselves afresh. It is not too late to do what we call social engineering.
Oh, yes.
We must re-engineer ourselves as coastal people by going back to the kayas and mobilizing ourselves from the kayas, and then come out, speak as Mijikenda, and speak in one voice.
Mtazamaji, I want to show you what we do here. This is a unique style we have, me and Professor. We are bringing you deep analysis of what is happening in the country. I'm the cameraman, I'm the host. This is a very simple setup we can do. Haitaki mambo mengi. Yeah, a simple setup, and we're bringing you what you want to see. So guys, support us. Yeah, support us. Support us in any way you can. Do it. We need to grow. We are happy we are growing. It's about identity. Costs. People have lost identity and we are confused. But we had it in the beginning.
Definitely.
But something came up and we were split.
Even in Chinua Achebe,
things fall apart.
Things fall apart. When the center can no longer hold. So I don't know which was the center of the people that was split, that they can no longer hold.
Things fall apart. Prof,
Chinua Achebe,
give us your parting shots.
it is important that we recognize who we are. The moment we can be able to know who we are, then we can be able to bring change. It must begin with the self, by the self, and for the self.
That is, Professor. It can only begin by the self. Hivyo umesikia.
It can only begin within the self, by the self, for the self. The Mijikenda people needs to pick that cue so that they can do it within themselves, by themselves, for themselves.
Kwa kifupi, haya maisha ni yetu. Sisi, we determine our tomorrow. Let us change. Let us face tomorrow within ourselves. This was Mulai TV. Be with us, talk to us, share with us, subscribe, tell a friend and tell a friend that we are here every day, every hour. Until next time, we say thank you from here, me and the Prof.